Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Surprise party, Leo's gossip victims, Xander's release, and Teresa's problem. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of March 18th to 22nd show that EJ DiMera will have a plan in place for Stefan DiMera's escape, as promised. However, Stefan will go rogue and surprise Chad DiMera while he is plastered. It appears like Chad will learn of the situation and persuade Stefan to surrender himself in. According to Day's teasers, Stefan will go to the Salem Police Department to confess what occurred to Harris Michaels. When EJ goes seeking for Stefan and discovers his brother has gone to the authorities, he may be concerned about how much Stefan would reveal about the DA's earlier escape offers. After Harris and Ava Vitali hit the sheets, it appears that he will admit that Stefan is the one who shot him. Day's teasers predict Ava will be furious about the news, and Harris will later hint about a problem in Stefan's plan. Harris could be alluding to Stefan's conversation with EJ, as he should have been aware of it by then. After receiving confirmation from Steve Johnson about what appears to have occurred to Katharina and Arya, John Black will tell Marlena Evans that he is going to apologize to Constantine Meliones and then turn himself into the police. Of course, that strategy may fail if Constantine reactivates the pawn before John has a chance. Sloane Peterson Brady will argue with Eric Brady regarding Jude Brady's christening. Sloane may say she is concerned about the celebration being held at the DiMera mansion, but Eric may believe that Nicole DiMera's participation in the festivities is the main issue. A bit later, Eric will have another suspicion that Holly Jonas isn't being completely honest. Holly may appear to know more than she is letting on about Tate Black, so Eric may encourage her to come clean. Eric may ultimately witness Nicole and Sloane discussing christening arrangements, and he may pick up on Sloane's strained demeanor and become upset as a result. Xander Cook will be released on bond and spend time with Sarah Horton. Although it appears that Sarah and Xander may be able to reunite in the bedroom, they will miss Victoria Horton Cook too much to be apart for long. Of course, Xander's freedom may be permanent once Stefan confesses to the authorities, so good news appears to be on the way for Sarah, Xander, and their small family with Victoria. Next, Day's spoilers predict Johnny DiMera and Chanel DiMera will finally consummate their new marriage, leaving them on cloud 9. Soon after, Johnny will assist Steve in planning a surprise party for Paulina Price and Abe Carver, who have two reasons to celebrate: her amazing recovery and the return of his memories. Back with Constantine, he'll remind Teresa Donovan, Robert Scott Wilson, and take a sizable piece of the lucrative Kiriakis pie. Will Constantine put pressure on Teresa to get back together with Alex? Meanwhile, DOL fans can anticipate Leo Stark to continue on the prowl for more juicy gossip column ideas, so keep an eye out for guesses on who his next targets will be. Finally, Jada Hunter will tell Harris to dump Ava before she drags him down even deeper. According to Jada, Harris will appear to be ruining his career for this woman, thus she will believe Harris should end his relationship with Ava permanently. According to Days of Our Lives spoilers, the week of March 18th to 22nd will feature some stubborn Salemites and much more. In Steve and Kayla's townhouse bedroom, Steve gazed over spectator stories, including one about Clyde being on the run. When Kayla entered, she explained that Steve was the reason Tripp was still alive. Steve claimed that Kayla was also responsible for saving Tripp and Wendy since she had helped Steve learn sign language years before. Steve recalls Wendy making the beer sign, and he and John following Wendy's lead to the brewery. When Kayla concluded that Steve was still concerned, Steve expressed his displeasure that Ava had been engaged with Clyde. Steve also stated that Abe still had amnesia and that Paulina had heart failure. Kayla astonished Steve by saying that, against all odds, Paulina's heart had returned to normal. Steve questioned how it was possible. Kayla credited the power of love and prayer, stating that everyone had much to be thankful for. Wendy remembered exchanging vows with Tripp the night before in the brewery as she sat in her hospital room. Tripp entered and stated that he did not want him or Wendy to go through a similar trauma again. Wendy wondered whether she had dreamed any of what she and Tripp had spoken to one another as they were running out of air. Sarah entered before Wendy could inquire about the validity of her and Tripp's nuptials. Johnny and Chanel approached the nurse's station and asked Abe for an update on Paulina. Abe astounded Johnny and Chanel when he said that Paulina no longer required a heart transplant. Chanel inquired as to what had happened. I'm not sure if I can explain it. If I didn't know better, I'd think I was dreaming, Abe explained. Lonnie worried in Paulina's hospital room when she and Eli saw Paulina's bed was empty. Eli advised Lonnie not to expect the worst. Abe, Chanel, and Johnny entered seconds before Sarah wheeled Paulina in. Chanel saw that Paulina looked considerably better than she did the night before. Sarah revealed that Paulina's heart appeared to be in good health. Defying all medical explanation, Sarah said. Paulina was in a much better mood, and she mentioned that they had another miracle to celebrate. Everyone was pleased when Abe stated that he had regained his memory the previous night. Abe stretched his arms to Lonnie and warmly remembered the day he found she was his daughter. Abe said he was proud to be Lonnie's father. Lonnie and Abe had a warm embrace. Abe looked at Paulina and remarked, "I remember falling in love with you the first time." Johnny observed that the Carvers must have an angel in their midst. "Yes, we do," Abe replied warmly, and he and Paulina locked gazes. When Eli took a call, Lonnie followed him out of the room. Alone in the room, Paulina deduced that Abe had no intention of informing Eli and Lonnie about his encounter with Lexi. Abe claimed that no one would believe Lexi had miraculously healed them. Paulina was concerned that Abe's recovering of memories might force him to remember the lies she had told him. Abe confessed his love for Paulina and stated that he could not wait to spend the rest of his life with her. Abe and Paulina kissed. Paulina revealed that she had been dreaming of Abe regaining his memories for months. "And now, thank God and thank Lexi, we will be making many, many more beautiful and perfect memories together," Abe was quoted as saying. Steve and Kayla arrived moments after and joined Abe and Paulina. Paulina thanked Steve and Kayla for everything they had done for Paulina and Abe announced that he intended to move back in with Paulina full-time. Steve and Kayla were overjoyed with the announcement, and they asked Abe and Paulina to a celebratory meal soon. Abe and Paulina cheerfully agreed. Steve and Abe hugged. Steve stated he adored Abe and Paulina. Why the nurses' station, Eli and Lonnie were thrilled after Eli learned by phone that the FBI had approved his request to become a part-time agent. Eli shared that he was having reservations because the job was in Washington, D.C., and he added that he was torn over leaving Salem again. Back in Paulina's room, after Paulina mentioned spending more time with Jules and Carver, Paulina noted that Eli and Lonnie had long faces. Lonnie shared the news of Eli's job offer. Paulina said that Eli and Lonnie had to do what was best for them, and she promised to visit them in Washington as often as she could. Back in Wendy's room, Steve and Kayla visited Tripp and Wendy. Sarah was happy when she announced that Tripp and Wendy were in better shape than when they'd first arrived at the hospital the previous night. Steve told Tripp that he was furious with Ava for her role in Clyde's drug trafficking ring. Tripp defended Ava by noting that she had asked Tripp and Wendy to leave Salem weeks earlier. Steve grew even more irate when he learned that Tripp had known of Ava's involvement with Clyde, and he demanded to know why Tripp hadn't gone to Steve with the information. Tripp apologized to Steve, who insisted that he was only angry with Ava. Steve said he was grateful that Tripp and Wendy were okay. Tripp said that he was grateful for Steve, and they shared a warm hug.